AITA for kicking my roommate's girlfriend's kid out of my bed. Don't even care who sees. Came home from work tonight to find my roommate's girlfriend's kid in my bed. I don't care that he has guests over, but my one rule is to respect my stuff and my space. There was another bed free and a kid's room, so I told her to go sleep in that one and give mine back. Roommate is pissed, saying I should have slept in the kid's bed myself, lol, and left the child to sleep. I told him he knew I was going to be back tonight and where my bed was. He shouldn't be putting his guests up in my space. So, AITA, edit, the kid didn't sneak into the wrong room or anything, they put her there on purpose. Edit 2. Now that I'm more awake and less angry, her kid is 5, roommate and I share a kid, no romantic strings for over a decade. This is absolutely not the issue. I've never had issues with him bringing his girls around here until it started putting me out of my own space. Our son is 10. There's a kid's room with 3 beds, 2 free. Roommate's room is downstairs, mine and kid's room are upstairs across the house right next to each other. So it wasn't so they could get privacy to bang. I wasn't rude or mean to the kids, just said hey, go sleep in the kid's room. I don't think your mom knew it was my bed. She did. This living arrangement is temporary and trust me, I'm trying to move out ASAP. This market is not forgiving though. The fact that I was yelled at for wanting my own bed is purely what brought me here, because roommate has zero awareness of when he's possibly in the wrong. So petty me would like to show him how 500 strangers disagree. Thank you. Edit 3, roommate and girlfriend broke up. Hopefully this won't be an issue again. Participant 1, AITA et al. Is your roommate going to clean and change your sheets for you? Because gross. It might be worth mentioning to your roommate's girlfriend that it's lucky her child didn't notice your vintage porno mag collection, drug paraphernalia, or mind the child sleeping on your cum-stained and lice-infested bed sheets. Obviously all not true, but it all plausibly could be, and those are exactly the reasons not to just assume you can put your child to bed in an adult's room without prior permission. The paraphernalia part isn't. My pot and anxiety meds are on my dresser where I expect no kids to touch it because I expect no kids to be in my room without me knowing, and yes, they knew those were there. AITA. But dude, you need a new roommate. Not only did they do this shitty thing, they got pissed at you for not letting their child use your bed. This will only get worse. You could try putting a lock on your door, but I bet these people will also steal your food or anything else. They already do steal my food, and I constantly have to clean up after them and their kids. Trust me, I'm looking for a place. Unfortunately, having 3 jobs doesn't make me enough money to get a place of my own yet. Nope, fuck that shit. I have one rule for house guests. My bed is mine. Well, 2, if my cat scratches you, it's your own fault. I might choose to share it, but I'll be damned if I'll be kicked out of it. If that means all my roommates' friends and their kids be sleeping on the floor. My bed is my bed, and I'm gonna be in it. And I'm gonna be comfortable. That's what I pay rent for. AITA bro. AITA if I'm just thinking weird shit here, but how close is the room they stay into the kids' room? Were they trying to do the deed and not deal with anyone walking in or something? Outside of that, that's fucking weird and not okay. Edit, including that it's weird and not okay. I just couldn't think of any other reason from their point of view that makes any kind of sense. AITA. They have a free bed specifically in the kids' room. Not only did they invade your personal space, but they expect you then to occupy the kids. Kids need to be taught boundaries between what is theirs and what is not, and these parents are teaching them it's okay to break these. After a long day at work, you sleep way better in your own bed, notwithstanding that they're automatically in the wrong for violating your space. How can they not think that putting a child in an adult's bed where you presumably do adult things and it is not weird? I loan my bed to people when I'm out of town or somewhere else, and only because I swap out clean guest sheets. My other concern would be that if they're a particularly young kid, they could possibly have an accident that would be incredibly unhygienic. In summary, they shit the bed on this one and are trying to pull the think of the children card. Participant 2, Auntie A. I came home at 5 a.m. from working a night shift and found a frown-ass man in my bed. He told me to go away when I asked him why he was in my bed. So, I went completely psycho and dragged him out and called him every name I could think of. He was friend of my sister's boyfriend and they were drinking and thought he'd sleep on the couch, but he didn't. Washing my sheets at 5 a.m. after getting off work and being dead tired made me slightly homicidal. Auntie A. This is so weird, dude. I have no idea why they would choose to put her in your room when there is a perfectly fine kid's bed waiting for them. No offense, because I don't know you and this isn't an accusation or assumption at all, but I would not put my kid into a random adult dude's bed. I don't know what they got up to in there, or how often the sheets are cleaned, or if there's anything under the pillow or sheets I don't want in my kid's reach. It's irresponsible, short-sighted, and disrespectful. Auntie A. Your roomie sucks. I had a guy move his girlfriend in, for free might I add, when I was paying rent and didn't charge her. She moved her kids in not too long after and intentionally had them keep me awake to try to get me to move out. She was also a bad parent and let her very young kids run amok and terrorize my cat, as well as play in an abandoned building way too far from the house, and near the freeway. Joke is on her though, homie was cheating on her and they split up later on. But your story reminded me of that, and honestly bud, you need to lay down the I pay rent here card ASAP or she will walk all over you, and it will get worse. My situation started out small and ended up worse with every passing month. Auntie A. But I had the benefit of reading the entire post with edits. You sound like an A before the edits that provided context and the info about the decade-long baggage between you and your roommate. You're not an A, but you're a moron for thinking the original post was a fair representation of the situation. Automod. The following is a copy of the above post. This comment is a record of the above post as it was originally written, in case the post is deleted or edited. Read this before contacting the mad team. Don't even care who sees. Came home from work tonight to find my roommate's girlfriend's kid in my bed. I don't care that he has guests over, but my one rule is to respect my stuff and my space. There was another bed free and a kid's room, so I told her to go sleep in that one and give mine back. Roommate is pissed, saying I should have slept in the kid's bed myself. Lol. And left the child to sleep. I told him he knew I was going to be back tonight and where my bed was, he shouldn't be putting his guests up in my space. So, AITA, I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit if you have any questions or concerns. Auntie A. Your bed is yours. There was a free bed for the kid, so they should have had the kid sleep there. Even if there wasn't a free bed, your roommate should have given his own bed. It's not your GF's kid. Or your kid. So you're not the asshole. Like WTF. Why do they expect you to sleep in the kid's bed? Your roommate is the A. Or your roommate's GF. Asshole aficionado. 11. Auntie A. I find it disgusting to have other people besides myself sleep in my sheets. If not bed, your roommate would most likely not even have considered changing your sheets after the kid slept in your bed, so he didn't use it as a true guest room. He just was a lazy peep and didn't want to prepare the bed in the other room, if it even needed preparation. It is an absolute no-no to have people, kids or not, sleep in other people's bed without their express consent. Auntie A. Ask about what if you left a dildo on the bed? What if the kid put your handgun under the pillow? What if you were waiting to get home to clean the bloodstain from the sheets? There are so many reasons not to sleep in someone's bed without asking, let alone a child. I say leave dildos in your bed to deter future sleepovers. NTA. Not even close. There have to be boundaries and house rules when it's a roommate living situation. I wonder if your roommate is a rather ask for forgiveness than permission type. That was a way over the line thing to do, especially because it involved other people and their children. Colorectal surgeon, 34, It's your bedroom, which should be off limits to your roommate and his guests. You should not have to sleep in the kids' room because your roommates chose to violate your space. Why didn't they put their child in the kids' room and leave your bedroom alone? If they keep pulling crap like this, you might want to consider moving out when you can. AITA. AITA, it's your space. Stuff like this comes up all the time in the subreddit. But let me say that there is never an excuse to go into a paying roommate's room without permission. I'm with the other suggestions. Get a lock and make sure you lay out some ground rules. You pay for that space. It's your space, and is still your space when you aren't occupying it, especially with kids. Even if you don't want to play the "it's my damn space" card. If one of them cuts themselves on something, pulls a shelf down onto themselves, messes with something they shouldn't, then they will blame you. If they break something and you have to confront them to pay for it, it's going to cause problems. It's for your own safety and theirs that they stay out. AITA. So many reasons why that most people have already mentioned. I would like to add that, how much you want to bet, if they keep letting the kid into your room and something happens, they would blame you. If something breaks, if the kid takes anything, if there are unsafe objects the kid could get into. There are so many reasons why that kid shouldn't be in there. You pay rent. You are entitled to that space. It's not your kid and not your responsibility to keep the child safe. AITA. When I had sleepovers with my cousin as a kid, her sister, my older cousin, was a teenager. They had a full-size bottom bunk and a twin top. I didn't want to share a twin, so I'd sleep in this full-size bed. When an older cousin came home from work late at night, she would wake me up and I'd just go to the couch. As a kid I didn't think anything of it, but now I realize it's just rude to sleep in other people's bed and expect them to find somewhere else to sleep. Your roommate isn't a child. They know what's right and wrong, and giving your bed to any guest, child or not, is wrong. Question. How old is said kid? Putting a kid into a room that has not been intended to have one is risking it a bit. What if OP had some education or legal recreational edibles that the kid had found? What if the kid, thirsty, found and drank some drain cleaner that OP had intended to use on a shower drain or something? Sorry, this is way more than boundary stomping. Anyway. Not OP, but I got some edibles from the local pot store. Legit looks like an Apple store. But for marijuana. They were these pretty expensive high THC milk chocolates. There were 4 per pack. My niece found them and ate them. All of them. These were not left out. They were hidden under my panties in my underwear drawer. She's 6 years old and has grown into that snooping age if you don't watch her 24/7. She told her mother she needed to use the washroom. And went right into my room instead while I was out on the balcony talking to my other sister. She was fine after a hospital visit, and pot is legal here, but we had to show the doctor the package and we made her explain where she found them. AITA. But I really hope you weren't rude or mean to the child about it. She was literally put there and was probably already feeling uncomfortable enough sleeping in someone else's bed. She doesn't deserve to have to feel guilty for upsetting the bed's owner. Edit. Law. First check this comment, had like 6-8 up votes. Dude responded, I was like ah cool and awarded him. Then I come back and see 11 down votes instead. Now what the fuck? This is why I hate this site and never visit it anymore. AITA. It's weird that they put their kid in your bed, like WTF. I would not be putting my kid to sleep in another grown adult's bed that they aren't close or related to. I don't care how desperate I was to get my swerve on. Your roommate has no place being pissed when not only did they violate your privacy, but they put the kid in a weird position as well. It's pretty obvious the first part of this post is a totally one-sided bout of anger, and then in your edit you decided to add all the relevant information. There are already multiple kids in the house, one of them is yours and your roommate's, and you know the situation is bad enough that you are trying to move out. Petty me would like to show him 500 people disagree, and petty him won't care, because he will read your description, and I'm sure you left out some additional key points. You should move out to save these kids the trouble. literally did not leave out any key points. I told roommate I would be back later. Yes, that's all we are. There hasn't been a romantic connection in quite some time and never will be. Roommate and girlfriend put kid to sleep in my bed in my room without asking when there were several other options. I told kid to sleep in one of said other options. Roommate and kid's mom got mad that I would dare wake a sleeping kid to get out of my personal space. That's about all there is to it, bud. And of course I was angry. I just got done working a long shifter and my still healing back was killing me. Then I had to deal with someone else's kid in my bed. Who wouldn't be mad about that? My only reason for editing was to answer questions about how there was actually many other options that could have been taken aside from just taking over my space. And like I've already said about 1,000,000 times, I'm in the process of trying to move. Not easy right now. NTA. That is a huge breach of space and privacy. I hate the idea of someone being in my bed that isn't myself or my partner. IDCWHO. It is so if I came home and someone purposely did this to me, bet your shit I would get a lock for my door and make it very loud and clear to everyone that your room is completely off limits, and if anyone somehow manages to get inside I will literally flip the mattress with you on it. Jeff, who it is. Do not go into my room and lock that shit up. NTA. After reading some of the comments, it seems very likely that they wanted some adult alone time or just wanted to screw with you. Either way, they violated your privacy and just did a weird thing, having the kid sleep in your room instead of the kid's room. I know you're looking for a place, but it might not hurt either to just stress to them the importance of your room being yours. NTA. You don't put a kid in someone else's bed with prior notice because it's a dick move. You don't put a kid in someone else's bed with prior notice because you don't know what sort of stuff they have lying around. I keep meds, weed and toys in the drawer next to my bed, and occasionally, edibles. You don't put a kid in someone else's bed with prior notice because it's confusing to a kid. If you did put the kid to bed in someone else's bed, it's been my experience kids are very easy to move if they're sleeping. I've moved my niece to an entire other house and she barely woke up. If the girlfriend doesn't care about bringing her kid over to a new boyfriend's house, putting the kid in a random person's bed. Why does she suddenly care if the kid moves? She doesn't. They're just being difficult. NTA. Also, I don't know what the living arrangement is, and you said that it would be ending soon. But I'd still like to commend you for letting the kids have both parents under the same roof for longer than romance dictates. I realize it would often be very hard, but it's something diverging couples should consider more often. If like to think I'd be roommates with someone I didn't really like to give a kid both their parents. NTA. He needs to learn to respect some boundaries. Obviously, it's not the child's fault, but the adults who were directing the child what to do and where to go should have taken responsibility enough to understand that your bed belongs to you and without your exclusive permission, no one else should be sleeping in it. Some people are so ridiculous. What in the world are these people thinking? And then to get mad at you about it. The audacity. Seriously. He is a major he doesn't understand how to respect other people and their space and belongings. It is not okay to put a kid, does the kid wet the bed? In someone else's bed when there is a perfectly good kid's bed in a kid's bedroom. If he didn't want to put the kid in a kid room, then the next option would be to put the kid in his bed, and if that wasn't an option, the next option was to send the kid and GF home to their own beds. Never okay to go into someone else's room and take things or use things or put someone else in their bed. The fact that he even needs to be told this demonstrates that he lacks self-awareness and is most likely emotionally immature. NTA. I had to really think about it though once you gave more info. I could be sympathetic to the mom not wanting her daughter to share a room with your son and your son not wanting to share a room with her daughter. If that was the reason, though, then your roommate and his GF needed to talk to you about it ahead of time instead of just assuming you could sleep in the room with your son and putting her daughter in your private space. Auntie A. You pay such and such amount of money to live there. You purchase the bed that you own it, and you should have every right to come home and want to sleep in your bed in the house you paid to live in. Maybe he should have thought of that before allowing somebody else's child to sleep in your bed. Would he appreciate you bringing someone home and allowing their child to sleep in his bed without his permission? If you already know the answer to that is no, then that's all that needs to be said. It's the golden rule: you do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and if you wouldn't want someone to do that to him, he shouldn't expect you to be okay with it either.